Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic, and today I'm looking at a puzzle by Chinstrap, who has been coming much more to our attention lately as a brilliant constructor. And Simon suggested I have a go at this. I don't know whether I think it's because he doesn't like numbered rooms. And, well, I mean, I'm no different. In fact, I saw Simon recently define the sorts of puzzles that he struggles with. It's virtually the same list as for me. Fortress is definitely on it. I think numbered rooms as well. Anyway, there's also Dutch Whispers here. I'm going to have a go at this in a moment, but first of all, do let me tell you that on the 1st of next month, we're going to have on Patreon a new Sudoku hunt by Itrio, and Itrio is a fantastic compiler. It has been for ages, and we're really pleased that it's going to be Itrio's first hunt as a patron reward. That's going to be June's patron reward. So look forward to that coming up on the 1st of the month. On Patreon, there's, of course, connections videos. There will be one tomorrow, and crossword videos and all sorts, as well as more Sudoku. And of course, if you really want more Sudoku, there's all of our apps. They feature line Sudoku. There's a number of Dutch Whispers puzzles there, and all kinds of other ones, including Fog of War. You could get our merchandise, including the secret squared t-shirt, or many other things. Do check out everything that we have, and there's SVEN'S Sudoku Pad linked under the video as well. But the first link under this video is to this puzzle, Dutch Angles by Chinstrap, and the rules are as follows. Normal Sudoku rules apply. That's within the 9x9 grid. Now, so that means 1 to 9 will go in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box of the 9x9 grid. Adjacent digits on an orange line must have a difference of at least 4. So you could have 1 and 5 here, or 2 and 7, but you couldn't have 3 and 6 in those two cells. Now, numbered rooms, all outside cells on a clue, so that's all the ones shown, must contain a digit, and that digit must also appear in the nth position looking into the grid in the row or column, where n is the digit in the first position. So if that was a 7 and that was a 2, that's saying 7 appears in the 7th digit. Sorry, that is saying 7 appears in the second cell looking in this way. So that would be a 7. That's what it means. What is in the second square? It's a 7, because that's there. So that's how numbered rooms works, and no wonder it's a bit confusing. It already sounds confusing when I try and explain it, but it's a very clever constraint. I don't think I've seen it combined with Dutch Whispers particularly before, especially going outside the grid. And I love that Chinstrap has made this puzzle to be unique with just a bunch of triangles, no given digits. They're all right-angled triangles as well. It's so clever. Give this a try on the first link under the video. I'm going to start now. Let's get cracking. So, what on earth do we do? What on earth do we do? With Dutch Whispers, you can't even highlight a line as low, high, because 5 appearing on the line changes that polarity. So let me just try and explain the concept. On a German Whispers line, you can't have a 5. Every digit is lower than 5 or higher than 5. German Whispers, back one step. German Whispers is a difference of 5 or more along a line. And therefore 5 can't appear because there's no Sudoku neighbour, and 1, 2, 3, 4 can't appear next to each other. So you alternate between low and high, lower than 5 and higher than 5. Now, in Dutch Whispers, that's fine. You do that most of the time. But if 5 does appear on the line, then it creates a polarity change, because you might have been going down here happily low, high, low. But then 5 changes that polarity, and suddenly you've got high and low 2 steps away from each other on the line. So that's a bit of, oh, okay. But these lines, right. I was going to say these lines are circular. They're clearly not. They're clearly triangular. My point is that they join up. So we can add up the length of the line. And this one is 9 cells long. Now, this one is only 4 cells long. Where a line that joins itself up is even length, the alternation is fine. Those two will be either high or low, and those two will be the other colour. And you go high, low, or the other way around. And you don't need any parity. In fact, you can't have any parity swaps on that line, because polarity swaps. Because if you had one, you'd have to have another one to get back to the even total. However, on this line, there is a polarity swap, a polarity change. So there is a 5 on it. I mean, that's hardly surprising. 7 of the digits in box 3 do appear on the line, so the odds are a priori about 77% in favour of one of them being a 5. Is it? Now I'm wondering, is it possible? Well, this line has to have an odd number of polarity swaps, as I'm going to call them. Oh, these 3-cell lines have a polarity swap because they're 3 cells. These are huge. These are the digits 1, 5, and 9, so that they can have the polarity swap. Right, that is where we should be beginning. I'm sorry, this was probably blindingly obvious to some people. So, a 3-cell line, either you're going low, high, low, and then 2 lows will join together. But so you can't do that. Same with high, low, high. So you must have a 5. And therefore these lines have to go 1, 5, 9. 5 can only join to 1 or 9. There are a couple of other Sudoku digits that are bigamous in Dutch whispers. They can only have 2 possible partners. And they are 6 and 4. 6 can only sit next to 1 and 2. 4 can only sit next to 8 and 9. Worth pointing out, probably not part of this solve yet. Right, so what are these saying in numbered rooms terms? Let's imagine that this is a 5 to start with. Then that's saying 1 appears in the 5th cell. 1 would be there. Or if that's a 9, 9 would be there. Well, that seems very doable. So this can definitely be a 5. It can't be a 1. This cannot be a 1. If this cell was a 1, let me show you what happens. That says that this digit must appear in the first cell looking in this direction. And obviously there's a 1 in that first cell, but the whisper requires this to be a 5 or a 9, so that doesn't work. So it's not a 1 there. Can it be a 9, or can we rule that out? If this was a 9, it's saying that 1 and 5, which must occupy these 2 cells, must appear in these 2 cells. I think that is all right. I don't know why it's not. If this is a 9, let's imagine that's a 5. That's saying 5 must appear in the 9th cell here. Well, that's going to stop this being a 5. And this also can't be a 1 for exactly the same reason that can't be. So if that's a 9, okay, one of these is a 5 and is pushing a 5 to one of these, and now this can't be a 5. So if that's a 9, that's a 9 as well. And interesting, okay, well remember that this line needed a polarity swap. It needs to have an instance of 1, 5 and 9 on it. It can't possibly have 3 polarity swaps, because that would require 3 different 5s to be connected to 1s and 9s. You can't fit them in. So it has 1 polarity swap. It has 1 5 somewhere on it, flanked by a 1 and a 9. Now, it doesn't mean it couldn't have more 1s and 9s on it, or even more 5s. It just has 1 polarity swap. But it must have a 5 on it. So if those were both 9s with a 5, Maybe that would be a 1. Oh, that wouldn't work. Right. Right. I'm positing the case. Let me show you what I'm looking at. If these were 9s and one of these was a 1, both of them would have to be a 1 because that digit would be a 1 and these cells would be talking about what goes there. Right, that is theoretically possible. But why that is not possible is because, remember we said this line has to have a polarity swap on it. It has to have a 5 on it surrounded by 1 and 9. Well, this 1 sees every cell on the line, either in its box, row or column. There can't be another 1 on the line if that's a 1. Therefore, this is the 1 in the polarity swap, but that means it has to have a 5 in one of those cells and a 9 in one of those, and it can't. So this is not the situation that prevails. Well, okay. That doesn't rule 9 out of these cells. It does rule 1 out of here if that's a 9. So the alternative is that we have 5 in those cells and 5 here. And then the polarity swap also doesn't work because that 5 sees all the other cells on the line. It can be the only 5 on the line, and one of the digits surrounding it has to be a 9, and that's not possible. That is an extraordinary beginning to this puzzle, but it proves that neither of these digits can be a 9 because the digit they're going to put there makes this triangle impossible. And that is incredible and weird and wonderful. But it means that both of these digits are 5s. And that means that these are not 5s. These clues outside the grid are 1s and 9s. And these cells that are the 5th room, looking that way and that way and that way and that way, these are all selected from 1 or 9. And in fact, that's a pair, a 1-9 pair. And that's a 1-9 pair because this is obviously a 1-9 pair. Now, let's go here where we're throwing a digit. No, let's go here where there has to be a 5 on this line. It's now in one of those two cells. And it's surrounded by a 1 and a 9 because it's performing a polarity swap. So these two cells must contain either the 5 or one of the digits surrounding them. That's strange. Okay, let's go here because we're on a line and we've got an extreme digit. Now, this is not a 1. This was something I thought about up here. When you had 1 there, the only digit for any numbered room clue, if you have 1 in the first cell, the digit outside the grid must be a 1. Now that could happen here. These could both be 1s, with a 1 there saying that the first digit you see in the first room is a 1, and that's perfectly legal. And that hasn't broken the line. But you can't put two 1s here because that does break the line. They're next to each other. Their difference is 0. That's not enough. So this is not a 1. That's a 9. This is a 1. Now we can say this is 9 being thrown into the 5th room up here. This is 1 being thrown into the 5th room. That 9 looks across the grid. That's a 1. That's a 1. That's a 9. That's a 9. And unbelievably, we've got a start on the puzzle somehow. It's really, really clever. Okay, this is a 1. This is what we said. Wherever 1 appears in the first room, the numbered rooms clue is a 1. So now we know a bit about this triangle also is the same shape as this one. So I think it's got to have a polarity swap on it. I was going to do this next. In fact, look. 9 there. We know what's in the 9th room now. It's a 1. So that's a 1 outside the grid. And now this line is working fine. But this is a 6-cell triangle. So there are either no polarity swaps or 2 on it. And I will come back to that. Let's do this one because this is good. This is a 9-cell triangle. So there has to be at least, well, either 1 or 3 polarity swaps. I was about to say, let's assume it's 3. We don't have to assume it. Every polarity swap is created by a 5 being surrounded by a 1 and a 9. How many 1s can there be on this line? And the answer is only 1. In this Sudoku box, we've had a 1 already, so we can't put another 1. Outside the grid, you could theoretically have another 1, but that would immediately put a 1 in this, in the N position, because it would be saying what digit appears. Would it? No, it wouldn't. Okay, no, I'm wrong about that. You could have a 1 outside the grid with a 4 there, saying that there's a 1 in the 4th cell. So, okay, forget what I just said. What I'm going to do instead is say that on the Dutch Whisper, these can't be 1s, and although this could be, then this isn't achieving a polarity swap, because that would be low and that would be low. So there could be a 1 here. That's quite interesting. Okay, I'm not ruling out there being a 1 in this cell. And one of these two 1s is going to achieve a polarity swap, because it has to. And therefore the other digits surrounding the 1 are either a 5 and a 9 in these two cells or a 5 and a 9 in these two cells. This one is 5 or 9. Oh, that's a really weird thing to think about. Now, do I know the polarities of these digits? I feel like I must do, but I'm not sure. This digit cannot be the 5 in the polarity swap, because this would be the 9 if we were achieving the polarity swap here. And that would say that 5 was in the 9th cell, and that can't be a 5. So this is not the 5, this is not the 5. The 5 in the polarity swap must touch the 1, and it must be here now. That's so weird. Right, and that 5 has to be surrounded by 9 and 1 to achieve the polarity swap, to make it happen. So there we go. That is the polarity swap on the line. Now we know some low digits. So these are alternating low digits on the line. These are alternating high digits on the line. Let's colour up what we've done already, including outside the grid, just in case. I don't know why, but yeah, because sometimes, yeah, we want to get the, let's make 5s yellow. Okay. Now we don't know the polarity here. What we do know is that if that's the polarity swap 5, if that's the 5 doing the polarity swap, this digit is a 1. The 5 has to be surrounded by a 1 and a 9. So if that's a 5, that's a 1. If that's a 5, that's a 1, because of the position of these 9s. So the inside digit is not a 1. That is now a 5-9 pair. One of these is a 1 in the polarity swap. And on the other, and that 1 is next to a 5, and on the other side it's next to a 9. Those are definitely both low. And therefore we are alternating high digits there, low digits there, and we don't know here. This is a yellow and a high. So these two are both low. And these cells are 6, 7, and 8 to be high. And I mean, I could write 1, 2, 3, 4 into those. I'm not going to. That's so strange. We've got one more 9-cell line here which needs a polarity swap on it. Right. Where is the 5 on that line? It's not here, because this would be a 1 and a 9 and would clash. It's not here, because this would be a 1 and a 9 and would clash with the 1. That 5 says it's not there. That 5 says it's not there. So the 5 is in one of these cells. So is the 1 in that 5 must do a polarity swap by holding hands with a 1 and a 9. So the 1 has to touch one of these cells, and it can't be there or there, so it's also in this group. The 9, I don't know. I'd love to say the 9 is in this group, because then the 5 would be in the middle. But the 9 might be in one of those cells, so I can't really comment yet on that. I can alternate this line. Oh no, I said let's just watch out for a double parity swap, which would be really weird and is no longer possible, I think. If you went 5, 9, 1, 5, maybe it is possible. Oh, that's strange. Oh, hang on. 5, it goes in this numbered room, which is 2, 3, or 4. So there's a 5 in one of those 3 cells. Hadn't noticed this. 9 here might go in room 8. But it might go, well, it can't go there, there, or there by Sudoku. It can't go there because that's a 5-9 pair. 9, this digit, n, is either 2, 3, or 8. Strange. We don't have many other things outside the grid. We've got a high digit being put in a low digit's place. This is 2, 3, or 4 as well, actually, so is this. This is 6, 7, 8, or 9. It could be another 9. And that's going in position 2, 3, or 4. Well, it's not going in position 3 where there's a low number. Oh, and I was going to get a 9 onto this line and then alternate, but I don't... Or do... Well, if that was low, I'd know they were all low. Ah, these two... Right. This is the only polarity swap on the line. So the polarities remain alternating on the rest of the line. And these two polarities must be the same, therefore, because they alternate. Now, one thing you have to remember on these lines, especially when they pass in and out of boxes, is that 5 could theoretically do duty as either polarity. You could go 1, 5, 1, and 5 would have acted as high. You could go 9, 5, 9, and 5 would have acted as low. So 5 can do duty as either low or high. However, these cells can't contain a 5 by Sudoku. So they must be the same polarity, and that can't be low because there's only 4 blue cells in every column. So those two are high. This is low. This is now low, alternating with the high. This is high, this is low. And now this is not 1 because it would be touching a 2, 3, or 4. These are from 6, 7, 8, 9. These are from 2, 3, 4. This is not 1. The 1 is now in one of these 2 cells. This is also not 5 because that can't be 1 or 9. So we've got a 1, 5 pair suddenly created. The 9 could either be there touching the 5 or there touching the 5. So 9 is in one of those 2 cells, and that is not 9. Wow, this is nuts, this puzzle. This is a 6-cell line and probably has no alternation, no polarity swap. In fact, well, where could 5 appear on the line? It could appear there, and it could appear there. Can this line have 2 polarity swaps? No, because if you put 5 in both of those positions, you can't get 2 polarity swaps out of that because this is acting the same way towards both of them. In fact, that would be a 9 with 2 5s there, and you just couldn't put 1s in those. So it just wouldn't work. There are no 5s on this line because, well, hang on. There could be a 5. No, there couldn't. You couldn't have 2 of the same here. There are no 5s on this line. Okay. So this line does alternate between high and low. Those two are the same colour which is orange because we've got 3 blues in the row. So that's also orange. These other ones are blue. And this is saying that a low digit appears in cells 6, 7, 8 or 9. Oh, well, it could be 8 or 9. This could even be, no, this can't be a 5 appearing in, so it doesn't appear in room 7. It appears in room 6, 8 or 9. So that is 6, 8 or 9. I do find these numbered rooms ideas very hard to work with. I think we've established that there's no double polarity swap on this line. 5, 9, low. I suppose maybe we haven't. If that was 5, 9, 1, 5, that's the only way this is not high. So this is either 1 or 6, 7 or 8. It either forms a triple with those or it's a bloomin' 1 somehow with a 5 there. And then you'd have to have 5 and 9 in these 2 cells. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to... No, that wouldn't work. This can't be a 1 because if you had a 5 or a 9 here, that would say that digit had to appear in room 1. That's not happening. So that is high. These 2 are both low. Can I do some low-high populating now? Here we've got 1 of each because we need 4 of each in each box. Here there's a blue. Oh, no, I don't think we can. That is 2, 3 or 4. These are 6, 7, 8 or 9. Let's not get any more fancy than that. It's very difficult to respect both the numbered rooms thing and the Dutch whispers thing as it goes out of the grid. They're really weird to me. That's a high digit. This one must be high because it's next to low. And it's not 1 or 5. That must be high. And this is saying a high digit appears either in cell 2, 3 or 4. Well, it's got to be in cell 3. It's got to be there. This can't be 1 or 5 by Dutch whisper rules. So it's not the digit that goes there. This is the high digit that goes in cell 2. So this is a 2. Yeah, and this is the high digit from outside the grid, there, going in there. And now this is not a 2. So I've got a digit in this puzzle that is not 1, 5 or 9. I'm quite proud of myself. That is not a 2 by Sudoku. 3 or 4 goes in one of these. I don't know, what can we do next? It feels like every step is wrung out of this, like a water being squeezed out by a mangle. There's a 5 in one of those 2 cells. Now I have to be quite careful not to interpret those as the positions of 5 in this box, because that goes together as a triple. Right. There's also a 1 in one of these 2 cells. This is a blue digit going in positions 6, 7, 8 or 9. I don't know. Feels like I've not got enough clues outside the grid. Now, did we work out? Yeah, if that's 6, 7 or 8, there is no double parity swapping going on here. So this is high and this is low. And this is low. That's all fair. And none of these digits, oh, this one, I was going to say none of these digits could be a 5 doing duty as blue or orange, but actually this one could be. However, this is pointing an orange digit into positions 6, 7 or 8. Well, it's not position 7 because that's got a blue digit in. So now 7's in one of those 2 cells and that's not a 7. These, I want to write 2, 3 or 4 in these, but 1 is possible and I just can't get that out of my head. This is 2, 3 or 4. If that was 6, this would have to be 2. Then up here, this would become 6 and would need 2 and 1 around it. I don't know. I mean, there's probably Dutch whisper stuff going on that I can't quite work out. Oh, how are we meant to make progress now? I don't understand. I haven't used these little 4-cell triangles. They definitely alternate correctly. Oh, so in this row, can I work out the polarity of this digit? These two are the same polarity. These two are the same polarity. Right, let's call those red and these green. And that's red as well, actually. Oh, no, this is it. Much more importantly, where is 5 in this row? That's a lovely question. It cannot be on these little triangles, because if you had a 5, it would have to have 1 and 9 on both ends. And that would create a polarity swap. But they're 4 cells long, an even number, and they're too short to have 2 polarity swaps. 5 does not appear in any green or red cell. It's not there because this is a 5-9 pair, and it's not there. It's not here because of that 5, so it is here in the row. And now, that is 9, that is high. Oh, don't tell me this doesn't do anything. 5's in one of those 2 cells. I know it's not there because of my pencil marking of 5 over here. I've got 4 blues in column 8, so everything else is orange. Now I've got 4 oranges in box 9, so that's blue. I've got 4 oranges in this column, so that's blue. This is a yellow 5 and another blue digit. Now I've got 3 blues in this. No, now I was going to work out what green and red are. Okay, I don't know what they are, but here we've got 1 blue and 1 orange. So this one is green. And this means that 9 is now not going into position 8 because that's a 5. So this cell has become 2 or 3, and we now know that green is low and red is high. And these are low, and that's high. We can alternate on these triangles. Right, well, at least that coloured a lot more things. 3 blue and 3 orange in box 2. That's not the sort of things we want. We want to find 4 of the same colour. This is orange because it... Oh, hang on. I was going to say this is not a 5, but we don't know that. I'm being fooled by my pencil marks again. 5 is in one of those 2 cells. I don't know the colour here. Oh, has this all not done everything? It really hasn't. It's such a confusing puzzle to me. This is putting a high digit in place 6 or 8, room 6 or 8. This is putting a low digit in one of the early numbered rooms, so not 2, because that's a high digit. This is putting a low digit, in position 6. No, a low digit goes in position 8 or 9. That is an 8 or 9. I'm so slow. I just don't understand what's going on. This can't be 4 anymore, because that would be an 8-9 pair and break that cell. Okay, I can do some basic German, Dutch whisper stuff. I'm probably going to have to start colouring. Yeah, look, these can't be 9s. And there must, look, there's a 6, 7, 8 triple. There must be a 7 in one of these. So that's 6, 8 or 9. One of these 2 is a 7. One of these is a 7, so that can't be 4. This is a 1, isn't it? It's the polarity swap completion. If I may create a completely new scientific term, that's a 1, and those aren't. This digit, I don't know. 2, 3, I don't know. That's not a 1 now. It's Sudoku. That's the 1 in this box. Why did I know that wasn't a 1? Is this right? Yes, there's a 1 there and a 1 there. We did need a 1. And yeah, okay, that's fine. That is right. These are from 2, 3, 4. 4 has to be in one of those 2 cells in column 9, so that's not a 4. I mean, this is gradual, pickety stuff, isn't it? These numbered rooms, they're so useful when you spot the right one that does something. This is now putting a digit in 8 or 9. That's not interesting. This is putting a digit definitely in 2. This one is putting a low digit not into 8, but into 6, 7, or 9. They're not actually doing all that much. Oh, this is putting a 5 into position. Oh no, I've known that forever. This is putting a 9 into position 2 or 3. We now know that's position 3. So it is worth rechecking these occasionally. That's not a 3. That's a 2, 4 pair. That's a 3. 9 there. This is 6, 7, or 8. These are from 1, 2, 4. I mean, I'm not afraid to pencil mark, and neither should I be. This is not a 9 by Sudoku now. And therefore this is not a 9. In fact, 9 had to be in one of these 2 positions to perform the polarity swap. It's now here. So the polarity swap goes 5, 1. And then this is high. That's fine. This is low. It's putting a digit in position 9, which is going to be a 3 or a 4. And now this can't be 6 by Dutch whisper rules. Wow. No, I can colour that yellow, can't I? I can take 5 as out of there. Now, 5 is in one of those 2 cells in this row, but it's also in one of those 2 cells in this box. So I have to be a little careful with this pencil marking. This one's doing a sort of weird double duty. I do want to get this puzzle down to a position where I'm doing Sudoku. Right, these can't have a 1 in. They're 2, 3, or 4. But doesn't that mean this can't be a 6? Because it would be touching at least a 3. It does. And the same is true here. It's the same for both these cells. Neither of them can be a 6 because these can't both be 2. So that's a 7, 8 pair. This digit is a 6. That's going to tidy up all the highs in box 3. That makes this an 8. And this digit is being thrown there. And that doesn't help at all. Yet. I mean, I've got a lot of digits into the puzzle. This is now a 6, 7 pair. So that has to be a 2. Because it must touch the 6. 2, 2 by Sudoku. That's not a 2, so that's a 2. I don't know why that's not a 2. It's something to do with this numbered room clue. Yes, that's good enough. Now, I've got a 3, 4 pair here. That's a 2. I have to trust my pencil marks. I mean, they've been made for a variety of reasons at different times. Now, 2 can't be in those cells by Sudoku or those ones by pencil mark. 2's in one of those cells in box 2 and one of those cells in box 3, and that's not as exciting as I hoped. This is a 6, 7, 8 triple, in which the 8 must be in one of those 2. This digit can only be 6 or 7 then. I'm reusing the column mostly. Going to call it high. This one's low, can't be 1 or 2, that's 3 or 4. This can't be 4 anymore because it sees the 3, 4 pair. This digit is high, 6, 7, or 8. Just counting the colours in the column. That can't be 9 anymore, so this is 9 in the box, that's 8. And this is putting a blue digit in position 9. Now, what is this blue digit that is touching 8 and 7? It's not 4. So it's 3 or 4, and that is 3 or 4. Now, what is this connection able to be? It's only able to be 3, 7 on the whisper. Oh, lovely, lovely, lovely. So that's putting a 3 in position 9 there. That is a 4. That's a 1. I've finished a whole box. This is a 2. These two are a 6, 7 pair. This is a 3, 4, 5 triple. What's this low digit? It's not 3 or 2. It is able to be 4, so it's probably going to be that. That's become a 3 by elimination. This is now not a 3, but it can't be a 4 because it must touch a 7. So that's a 2. That's great. I mean, it's coming now. It's coming. It's complex, but it's coming. This digit, does it have to be a 4? 5, 9, 8, 3, 7, 1, 2. Well, I'm going to say 4 or 6. This cannot be a 6. This is interesting. This might inform that. This can't be a 6 because it can't touch that Sudoku digit. So this is putting a 7 or 8 in box 2. Oh, I could have just done that by Sudoku looking at that. This is a 6 now. This is not 6. This has become a 4 in the row. That makes that a 2. That makes this a 3. Let's get rid of the corner marks. Now, this is putting this digit here. 6, 7, or 9. I don't think the Dutch whisper thing helps with that. There's still quite a few numbered rooms things to tidy up, if I'm brutally honest here. Oh, where is the 4 in this column? That's the way to get what this is, not by doing naked single work. Where is the 4 in this column? It's not in that box. It is at the top. Right, this becomes a 1, as why not? That's now the 1 in the central box. All the 1s are done. I'm going to put in what might... No, I'm not going to put in what might be the last 2 because I don't know. I've got 2 and 6 in the top row still to position. 4, 9, 3, 1, 2. 5 is now in position 4. The numbered room has finally made it clear. Sorry, I'm not trying to swear. I'm trying to say the word finally. Now we get a 5 here. This is high. 6, 7, or 8. This is high. I don't know, that could be 9. 3 and 4 are touching this digit, so it's at least 8, and it's not 9. There we go. That's an 8. That isn't. That's a 6, 7 pair in the row, so this is 9. This is now putting a 6 or a 7 in position 2, and that 6 or 7 is forming part of a pair, and that is 4 or 5, and this is where 9 goes in the row now. Now I can put a 9 here by Sudoku, and that places 5 in that box, and that places 5 in that box, and now I've got all my 5s done, I think. See 9 yellow cells? Yes, you do. Those are 4s. This is not a 5. That's not a 1. That's been available for ages. This seems to be a naked 6. That's going to be very helpful. Very helpful. This becomes a 2. That's a 4. On the whisper, that makes this an 8. This has become a 6 by Sudoku. This has become a 7. Then I can do 8 and 7 and 6 and 7. I'm sort of finishing off now. That's a very exciting stage to suddenly get to. A 1 just sitting in the middle and nothing in box 1. 6, neither of these can be an 8, so the 8 in the central column is there. 5, 1, 9, 7, 3, 8. Again, neither of those can be an 8, so 8 in column 4 is known. This is 3 or 4, blue. This is a 376, so that's an 8. I can't do the 367 triple. Except that's not 7, that's not 3, that's not 6. Let's reduce them down. This is 6 or 7, this is 3 or 7. And this one, 3, 4 or 6. Right, is it numbered rooms that I'm missing, or Dutch whispers? Could be Dutch whispers here, although this is putting something in position 8. That's a 7. And this is putting something in position 2. That's also a 7. That's very strange. Right, this digit is going to appear in position 3 or 4, but it has to connect to 7 or 8. So I think it's 1, 2 or 3. It can't be a 1 from position 3 or 4. It's 2 or 3. That's weird. I don't get to find out what that is. 6 by Sudoku gives me 7 there, 6 here. That's a 7 going in position 2. Oh, that's important. That means it can't connect to 4 on the whisper. Oh, this is crazy. But that's going to do everything, actually. That is going to do everything. Well, I've got these 3, 6, 7 deadly pattern left, but it's going to get resolved by this digit. This is a 4. So position 4 there is that digit. So that's a 3, and there we go. That's brilliant. What is this to complete the outside digits? That's in position 9. That's a 4. That looks all right on the whisper. So that 3 is going to sort out this triple. Then we can do this one, but I would like to just complete my colouring for the completionists first, and then write in a 7 here and say I've done a fantastic Dutch angles puzzle by Chinstrap. There we go. That is awesome, isn't it? I mean, it wears you down a bit. It's quite hard to just keep your head around all of the constraints and the rules, but it's so clever. Chinstrap, you are excellent. Thank you for watching on the channel. It's a pleasure to have you with us. Oh, I was meant to mention, and I'm going to now, the Arthur Stern. So Ron and Jacqueline wrote to us from the Netherlands, where in the Netherlands there's a war cemetery called Margraten, where Simon may have told you this story already, and I expect he has. Every name on the walls of the missing has been adopted by a Dutch family, and those adoptions get passed on sometimes, often, from generation to generation. And Jacqueline and Ron are the adoptees of Arthur Stern's grave. Arthur Stern was a 22-year-old American soldier from Ohio who was flying as a pilot when his plane caught fire over Cambodia, Germany in 1945 during the Second World War. And the whole crew died, 9 or 10 people. Very sad. Arthur was the pilot, and Ron and Jacqueline strive to keep his memory alive. And on his birthday, which is today, they said it would mean the world to them to hear his name spoken aloud again, to affirm he's not forgotten. Well, Lieutenant Arthur Stern, we all thank you for your service and your sacrifice. Yeah, very happy to honour a brave soul of that sort. And we wish Ron and Jacqueline very well as any family of Arthur Stern who are still out there. Absolute tragedy that kids aged 22 just sacrificed in their dozens and hundreds and thousands during the war. Hideous, unthinkable. Thank you very much for watching us on Cracking the Cryptic, and this one's for Arthur Stern. And other than that, I will say goodbye for now.